Ooh, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dolphins Daily, your daily dose of Dolphins content with your boy Chris Kane. Just talk Dolphins. So we are in the middle of free agency, pre-free agency. It's the Wild Wild West right now. I'm sure you're watching the same thing as I am. Updates, bing, 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 people being traded, money being spent, people being cut. So whole lot of stuff going on. One thing happened in Miami is that Miami has not made a lot of defensive lineman moves, much to the chagrin of a lot of people. We thought Jonathan Allen was in play, didn't really go well. We thought, there's like a lot of people who we thought, oh, maybe that would be a good Javon Hargrave, that would be a nice fit. They got snapped up, and mostly because we just simply can't afford people, right? They're getting 15, 18, 20 million a year. We ain't got it. All right, the bill collector called and said, your money's due. We was like, can I get an extension? We ain't got the money, right? But one thing the Dolphins do want to do is bring back Calais Campbell. Now, Calais has been a consummate teammate, like a leader on the team, just a big giant, like nice guy. Also Miami legend, Hurricane to the Dolphins, right? But we don't know if Calais is going to play next year or if he wants to stay. Like he's kind of just been exploring his own individual options. It seems like he's going to either play or retire. And I thought he played very solid this year. Like the stats aren't eye popping, but when you watch him on the field, he still produces. He's not like what Von Miller was this past year for Buffalo, where there's a noticeable dip for real. It just seems like he's a big dude that's still kind of a force out there. And Miami would love to have him. One, because he will almost certainly be cheaper than any like major free agent on the market. Two, he knows the defense already. Three, we like having him around. So we are kind of doing this thing, kind of like what Teron Armstead, minus the 20 extra million. But we want him to come back. I haven't heard any numbers that he want to bring him back at. I would think somewhere between 2 and 4 million, but we just don't know. And so I think Miami is almost like we're not going to go spend the money we would spend on him on other people. So we're going to just kind of wait, which is dangerous because he very much could retire. And then we miss out on all the defensive linemen in the market right now. But the fact that they haven't made moves tells me they might feel a little confident that he's coming back because you would at least get somebody to kind of fill the void and then, you know, see what we can do. But it's something we want to do as a team. We want to bring him back. He hasn't really spoken. I know him and Teron are friends, and he's like, yeah, he's kind of weighing his options now along with Teron. What are you doing? We don't really know right now because it's the off season and people are like hanging with family. This is when people kind of get out of shape sometimes, and it's because my knees feel good, my back feels good, and we don't know what's happening right now. But we do want to bring him back. We're not like trying to release him to the wolves. I haven't heard of any other teams trying to like swoop in and take him as of now. I know Baltimore really wanted him last year, and Pierce just retired for them. So if he leaves Miami, possibly that's an easy destination for him to go back to Baltimore. We hope he stays because we want him down here. So we will see. Keep your eyes open. We don't really know what's going on in that situation. One thing that did happen today was Cooper Kupp, former Super Bowl great and just Triple Crown winner, straight cut by the Rams. They couldn't find a trade partner. I'm guessing they wanted decent assets back and nobody wanted to pick him up. And the question is, should the Dolphins pursue Cooper Kupp? Now, I know what you're thinking. Hey, we just signed Nick Westbrook-Akine. We don't need Cooper Kupp. We don't need a wide receiver 3. I only bring this scenario up if Miami plans on trading Tyreek. Because as much as we've said we don't want to trade him, as much as he said since his I'm out, man, I'm frustrated rant that I don't want to go, there's always some posturing going on. There's always something, right? It always kind of feels like it's safe but unsafe. And especially as you get closer to draft, someone wants to say, hey, you know what? We wanted to get DK in free agency. We missed out on DK. Hey, we tried to get Debo, missed out on Debo. And we really need a receiver. Would you give up Tyreek for like a 2 and a 4? And then Miami may be like, hey, there's a lot of receivers in this draft. A lot of receivers. And so when Miami believes, hey, we could probably draft the guy. He's not going to be Tyreek, obviously. But if we can draft the guy in the second round that's cheap, that we can like mold and grow, that may be something. We have a lot of needs on the team. Safety, O-line, linebacker, D-end. Like there's a lot of people, maybe another tight end to back up Jonnu. If there's always an offer out there, right? So then the question becomes, if Tyreek is traded, we probably aren't getting a receiver back. You would then have Jalen, Nick, and then like now a third receiver vacancy. Now you can think that Malik is going to take that spot. Maybe he will. But what would be a better third option than a great pass catching, good route running, smart, older receiver who just will be in the middle of the field, kind of getting open. We all know the Shanahan tree extends all the way down, including McVay, including McDaniel. So some of the things that Sean McVay does, or some of the things that we do, some of the things that Kyle Shanahan does, has been through everyone who's been under his tree. So the offensive philosophy and blocking schemes will be very similar. I'm sure Cooper Kupp's never struck me as someone who couldn't pick up an offense quickly. But what you get in Cooper Kupp is tremendous blocking, very wise, very good football IQ, good at getting open, productive when given a chance to be. But what you also get downside is he does get injured recently. So you get all these pluses and then you get this minus over here. And if he gets hurt, he's the wide receiver 3. He's not wide receiver 1 anymore, right? I think because they couldn't trade him, that tells me that his value around the league is low. It's depressed. And so he will probably sign for a very incentive-based contract. I can see a 1 year, $5 to $7 million that could get up to 10 to 12 kind of range for him, where teams are like, hey, you got to show us. It may be if you get 75 catches, an extra mil. If you get 1,000 yards, extra million. 10 touchdowns, extra mil, that kind of thing. So you're not fully shooting off all your money. But if he balls out, yeah, we'll pay you. We don't mind giving you money if you get 60 catches, 1,000 yards, and 10 touchdowns. Take our money because that means you balled as a third receiver. But I think this is a interesting option if the plan is to trade Tyreek. If you want to keep Tyreek, then no, we don't need a fourth receiver with the cachet of a Cooper Kupp. I don't see that really working out. But in that scenario of Tyreek being gone, Jalen becoming the 1, Nick the 2, Cooper Kupp's the 3, you got your intermediate threat, deeper, tall threat, all-around speed threat. It's a very balanced offense if you can do that. The ages for the first 2 are great. Cooper Kupp's obviously older, but I think he will have something to prove. Again, a 1-year deal, Cooper Kupp, trying to prove to the league he's not washed. I like the prospects of that. I like it for him to really go out and do his best. Miami is a great place to go if you want to try to stay healthy. Great weather. You're not dealing with the cold of some other cities. And Miami seems to be good at trying to pick up older receivers and rehabilitate them. It didn't work with Odell. I think it could work with Cooper Kupp. We will see. Hopefully, well, if we have him, that means that we're probably trading Tyreek. So I don't want to see it. But if we do see it, hopefully it works out for the best. And finally, we're back to the draft. Right now, every draft board that I've seen recently has the Dolphins getting Malachi Starks at safety. But what I'm noticing in all the mock drafts is that there's no other safety being taken for at least 15 picks. And not even a DB until maybe like 21, which is 8 picks after we have our pick. So it seems like the market for this particular position is relatively small, which is good because that means that the Dolphins have more options. Now, the offensive lineman market is tough. We have a couple going in the top 10, and between 11 and 20, like 2 or 3 are a possibility. And so one guy is Kelvin Banks, who plays at Texas. He's a guard and a tackle. And you know how I feel about versatile players. I like people that can play multiple positions because I don't know where I want you to live. We might end up getting a guard in free agency and think we got 2 good guards, and then maybe Teron leaves. We put Paul over there. Austin Jackson may take longer to recover. We put you over here, Banks, and we just start mixing and matching. I like mixing and matching with my offensive linemen. I like DBs that can be corners and safeties. I don't like people who are like, I only do one thing nowadays because it does seem like you need to have some flexibility. Now, if you're a center, I don't want you move from center to tackle. If you're my center and you're great at being center, just be my center. Everybody else, we can move around. So I like the versatility of Kelvin Banks. But I saw right now he's going like 23, 24. Dolphins had the 13th pick, which means that according to the experts, they think there's a pretty big gap between him and the next best offensive lineman. So if Miami thinks that he is closer than the scouts do, we don't need to draft him at 13. I feel like it would be probably a push. But there are a lot of players between 13 and 23 that other teams might want to jump to get. So if we think we can probably draft them at 17, 18, and maybe a team down that low is like, hey, we may want a Malachi. We may want another player like Warren from Penn State as a tight end. If you're an offense that thinks, hey, we need some more firepower, and if he's not going to fall to us where we are now. We want to jump maybe 4 spots where Miami is. We can trade back, pick up more assets, which is my biggest thing. We have a lot of positions of need. Let's pick up more draft picks, even if they're next year picks. Pick up more picks. We trade down and still get a super quality offensive lineman. SEC school, multiple positions he can play, physical, versatile, tough, and we fill our need while also filling up our bucket more. I think that makes a lot of sense. We get Malachi, that's great. I think the premium on a really good safety versus a really good offensive lineman is not equal. I think a really good offensive lineman changes the landscape of your offense. I think a really good safety, outside of like Ed Reed, the GOAT himself, is marginal. Like if I ask you who are the 4 best safeties, you might name the first 2. And then at 3 and 4, you're kind of like, eh. But when you're, a Trent Williams level offensive lineman, or Zach Martin before he retired level offensive lineman, you change the whole offensive line. Look at Penei Sewell. He went to Detroit and immediately the boys was on demon time, right? They just start pushing people around. So it's a big deal. Look at like Dickerson and who's the other guy for Philadelphia? Not Roberts. John blanking on his name. Wow. Ball, beard, whatever. You guys know what I'm talking about. Great. As soon as they pick these guys up, the offensive line immediately gets great. And it changes the whole identity of the team. So if you think Kelvin Banks can be one of those guys, and you can trade down and still get him, I like that personally more than drafting the best safety high, because I think the gap between the number 1 safety and the number 3 or 4 safety is not crazy. I had an episode like a week or so ago where I thought we can draft the safety in the 2nd round that I think is still starting worthy, still quality, and we can still get a really good offensive lineman in the 1st round. So that's what I would do as the GM. I'm not Chris Greer. My name is Chris. He's not me. But if it was up to me, if the player I wanted, I wouldn't trade down if the Dolphins wanted to get Ashton Genty because I think he'll be picked up by somebody else or Tyler Warren. But if you're picking up, the 4th best offensive tackle, I don't think that they're going to fly off the board. I do think there's a lot of defensive linemen, linebackers, other positions of need. So I think the Dolphins have a really good chance to trade down, get some assets, and get a good player, and fortify your team in other positions that we have of need. But we'll see what happens. As always, guys, we appreciate your time, your love and support. You guys are crushing it. Views, likes, and support, all that good stuff. We love being here for you. Stay with us every day for Dolphins Daily, and we'll see you next time. Peace.